All right, so I have started recording. Mm, I've started recording. I'm so excited, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in to our first live event, our first live session for the 2026 Domination Workshop. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for accepting. I mean, it's an honor. Thank you for coming in from the north, east, west, south of the world to join this incredible session. And I can guarantee you that you're going to have a good time here. You're going to have a good time here. So just sit down. If you have questions, you can as well put in the chat, or you can wait once it's time for questions. You can always ask. This is going to be an incredible session. It's a workshop, so it's not like a motivation. I'm not here to motivate you. I have never been a motivator. I've been all my life. I've been training teams. So we've just been talking about system structure. It has to do with the core principles. So I'm not here to motivate you. I am here for us to have that necessary conversation that will take your business to the next level, take your brand to the next level, take the things that you're doing to the next level. So I'm going to share my screen right now. I'm going to share my screen right now, and I hope you can see them. All right. So, okay. So this is welcome to the Reset, Relaunch, and Dominate workshop. Welcome to the Reset, Relaunch, and Dominate workshop. My name is Kent Udosen, and I am your host. I'm the facilitator. I'm the driver of this particular vehicle, and we're going to be having an incredible time together. I mean, on this trip. So just sit tight with me. All right. So why are we here? Why are we here? So we are here to, like I said earlier, we're here to have a beautiful conversation talking about how you can position yourself. It doesn't matter the industry that you're in, how you can position yourself, how you can become the most valuable assets in 2026. How can you dominate? You have stayed in your place of rest for too long. So how can you become the driver? How can you take charge? How can you take preeminence? I mean, you've been on earth for, I mean, maybe 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and you have served, you've done all the necessary things, but you have not taken your position fully as that go-to person that you're supposed to be. So this is the first live session. This is my first live session, personal live session for 2025. Have I been doing trainings before now? Yes, I've done trainings. I've done several sessions. But talking about the community that I started a growth community. At the end of this session, I'm going to tell you what it is about. So this is officially my first session for 2025, and then the next session is going to be in 2026. I couldn't wait till 2026 to start this. I had to say, let's get started right now, and then we will do the proper stuff in 2026. So this is Reset, this is Relaunch, and this is Dominate Workshop. Today is strictly about clarity. Today is strictly about clarity. Today is strictly about controls. Today is also strictly about positioning. How do you position yourself in a saturated market? How do you position yourself? How do you take charge? How do you become the go-to? Sorry, also for just in case you're not hearing me again, you might want to like draw my attention to maybe by putting it on the chat so that I know and I can come back to you. If I'm speaking too fast or I'm not audible or my video is paused or my slide is not showing, you just send me a message on the chat and I think it's going to pop and I would respond to you. So what we're doing right now, we're setting the foundation for the next phase. Think like a founder, think like an executive, think like that leader. So what are you doing right now? You are setting the foundation for the next phase of your life, for the next phase of your business, for the next phase of your career, for your personal brand. Let's go. So what's the mandate? What am I assuring you at the end of this session? I am assuring you this is not going to be a motivational session like I mentioned. This is not going to be a motivational session. This is not going to be the hype where we come and we get all motivated. No, this is going to, I want you to think. I want you to assess your current situation, assess everything. If you can, I would implore you to get a writing material. So if you can, I would implore you to get a writing material. It's going to help you very, very well. So if you can, I would implore you to get a writing material so that you can take down details, you can take down notes for um, your sessions and everything. All right. So we're going to think together. We're going to assess our situation. We're going to also see how we can reposition, and we will make a commitment. We're going to decide on what is going to be our next line of action. So who is this session for? Who is this session for? Who is this session for? Who did I have in mind when I thought about domination? When I thought about taking over? Who is this for? This is for the person that is capable. So if you consider yourself as capable, you have everything it takes. I mean, you're good, you're fluent. I mean, you speak good English, you have good command of English, you have that executive presence, you have a stage, you have a platform, you have somewhere. I mean, you have served, but it looks like you're not ready to launch. You're not ready for, or you're doubting yourself. You're thinking that the people that are out there they're more qualified than you are. You're thinking that you still need more time to, I mean, cook yourself. But every year comes by and then you're not doing, it still seems like the time for your launch is the next year. Next year, I'm going to launch, right? That's why I actually didn't wait to launch this session in 2026. I said, we're starting now. We're starting now. If you know me, if you've been following me, you'd realize that I'm someone that is big on branding. I'm big on brands. So if you see this slide right now, this is not being branded. But I didn't have to wait until everything is branded. I mean, you're supposed to see some watermarks, some things that is making everything look professional. But this is also professional. But I didn't wait until I had that. I had to get on with what I have at hand, what I have currently, instead of waiting until I have what I want to have. I looked for the next available thing that I have, and I decided to go with this. So the next version of the person that this is for the experience. It's for the experience. If you recall, I think in the Old Testament. Sorry, I'm just going to reference the Bible just a little, just a little. So just don't be um, don't be mad at me when I say I'm just going to reference the scriptures. Talking about Abraham. Abraham has served, he has done a lot of stuff. And then the word of the Lord came to him and told him to get out of his father's house, get out of your kindred. I'm going to make of you this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. So where he was that comfort zone. Was Abraham qualified to take that walk? Yes, he was qualified, but he kept on waiting until the word came to him. I don't want to do much of the Bible, but I just want to. So, your experience, this is for you. And also, the next category of persons is the people that are dissatisfied. You're not satisfied with, hold on, I think I left the slide. Okay. So, the next category of persons are the people that are dissatisfied. They're not happy with their current position, their current situation. You want to take a walk. You want to take a walk. You want to take a walk. You're not satisfied with, I think I missed the slide. Hold on. This is one thing using something. Okay, I got it back. If you can't see my slide, just let me know. You can see right now. We're just going to go straight into the meat of the matter, right? Let me know if you're following. Let me know if you're following. Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, what are the core problems? The core problems. Most people here do not lack skill. So, the skill is not a problem for you. You have done everything you can. You are a guru. You don't need anyone to teach you anything again. Like you have everything. So, skill is not a problem. What you lack is clarity, right? So, you need to write down. You need to write that down. What you need is clarity. You don't have a skill problem. What you have is the clarity problem. If you're not getting the results you want, um, what you need is clarity. What you need is positioning. Skill is not the problem. You do not lack skill. You have it. You can do the stuff. You are confident enough, but you're not clarified. You don't have the positioning, the proper positioning. For example, I'll give you a scenario. Let's say um, you're speaking to, you know how to speak confidently. Maybe you know how to speak, you know how to teach something confidently. But the people you're teaching this to can only, they're just in a remote area and can only afford to pay maybe $100 per session, or let's say 50 or $10, or just appreciation. No, thank you for coming. There's the group of persons that the same thing you did, the same thing. Okay, let me bring this down to I think 3 months ago, I was hired to train business owners. I was hired to train in an event, like they set up an event and I was hired to train. I train in two locations. I train in two locations, my hometown, my home current location, and somewhere else. Now, the same thing I trained at somewhere else with, a different set of persons. They didn't receive the message. It didn't go well as I thought it would go. Like most of them had language difficulty. They were not understanding the grammar. They were mostly native people. And I struggled because I tried to interpret it. I tried to see how I can bring it out, but I was stressed. And there was no air conditioning system in the place. So I was sweating like Christmas goods. I was sweating like Christmas goods. Was I paid for that session? Yes, I was paid for the session, but then it wasn't it wasn't what I anticipated. The audience was not what I prepared. I didn't prepare for that kind of audience. I prepared for an audience that was better, much better. Fast forward to the next place they brought me to come speak. Now we had professionals. This was a Monday morning. This was a Monday morning. This was not on Saturday like the last time I went. The last one I went was on a Saturday. Now, this was a Monday morning. These were executives, people that took permission from their workplace to come and attend. These were people that parked their vehicles outside. That one, it was just the speaker, the person that invited me, that brought me with have a car, so there was no other car. I think maybe one or two. So, but this other one, the entire facility was jam-packed with, their vehicles, like, so I went into the hall. The reception was great. Oh, welcome our speaker. I felt pumped. I'm like, okay, good, good, good. I think this is good. The air conditioning system was perfect, was good. And I flowed. And I shared the same slide, the same presentation slide I used, the same talk points I did in the last meeting was the same thing I did just 1 week ago, was the same thing I did in this particular session. And after that session, the kind of people that reached out to me, man, people were just screaming in the hall, wow. They were writing, I would want to move to the next point. They want to take notes and all of that. What just happened was positioning, right? Was positioning. It was not the skill, it was positioning. The people, the audience, the people that were available to receive my message. So no matter how talented you are, if you're aware that thing is not needed, if you're not positioned well, you're going to sell your vision. You're going to sell yourself short. Even the scripture says, do not cast your pearl before swines. Do not cast your pearl before swines. The Bible says that, like, you shouldn't cast your pearl before swines. So you need positioning, you need visibility. Someone needs to know that you exist for them to call you and give you an opportunity, for them to call you and give you the contracts, for them to call you and say, we want you to do this. So in 2026, you need to understand that this is the problem you have, not a skill problem. If you know this popular brand called Dangote, check out their memo, check out the newsletter they send out, check out their designs. You would see that the design is somehow really, really basic. This is a multi-billion-dollar company, Dangote. See the design, the memo that they send out. Look at how the thing is. It's as if it's a year one designer that actually makes that up and everything. But this is a multi-billion-dollar company. So it is not the design, it's not your skill that is the problem. It is who you are serving at the end of the day. It is who your client is, right? It is your audience, it's your positioning, it's your visibility, it's your leverage. That's what matters. Someone says he makes 30% a year, or 25% a year, or 10% a year, or 1% a year. You need to ask him about the leverage. What's your leverage? What leverage are you using? What leverage are you using? What's your equity? What's your capital? I can make 20% a year. My capital is maybe $100,000. And how much is that? Yours with a $1,000, how much are you going to make? So it's about your leverage. It's about your visibility, who you're connected to at the end of the day, the relationships you have. So you need to write this down, that these are the problems you have, so that we can start tackling them one after the other. So what's the consequence of this? The consequence of this is that your price, the price of being, when you're not positioned properly, your effort becomes undervalued. Am I here? Are there people here? Just let me know if you're here with me. If you're here with me, just let me know that you're here with me. All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, great. So the price of you not being positioned is you become undervalued. Your experience is ignored, right? Your experience, all of the things. Imagine you served in the oil and gas sector for let's say 15 years. But because of where you're positioned, nobody wants to learn about your experience. Nobody values your experience, because of the place that you're actually giving yourself out. Your experience is ignored, right? So this is where we come to the section where we say you have to reset. You have to reset. If something is not working well for you, last night I had a conversation with someone, and the person is a professional. The person is a top person in the energy and oil and gas sector. And I said, before you start building your personal brand, people already know you for a particular thing. So if you want to switch into a new phase, you have to reset your audience. You have to reset your brand. You have to reset your identity. You have to bring in something in the middle that resets everything, changes it to zero, so that you can start afresh, right? You have to reset your identity. We have known you as XYZ. Right now, it is time for you to reset that identity. You want to move into something. You need to, people shouldn't just come and see you start posting something. Like, you're going to confuse the people that you have around you. You need to bring in a break. That's called a reset. You have to bring in a break and ask yourself a few questions. Who am I called to serve? What am I doing? All right. You have to ask yourself key questions in the place of reset. You have to sit yourself down and ask yourself questions. What's the next phase? What is the next phase that you're doing? What kind of content are you creating? What kind of platform should you even be building on? The platform that you're even positioning yourself. What kind of platform should you be in? They say you should be on, social media, you should be on Instagram. But what if Instagram is not where your audience, the people that you're called to serve? What if that's not where they are? Right? So you need to do and conduct an internal audit. You have to do that internal audit first and then an external audit. All right, let's go. So finding reset. Um, Reset really, really doesn't mean like you're starting, like you're abandoning everything that you own. You're not selling your property. Okay. You might not be cutting your hair, like you're not killing yourself, you're not burning your outfits, you're not throwing away your entire self. No, that's not what I mean when I'm talking about reset. I'm not asking you to quit your job as well. I am one believer of you must have something that you're doing. So um, if you don't have something else you're moving into, I'm not going to ask you to quit your job. All right. So this session is not about you coming to quit your job. It's not about you quitting your job per se. So starting, resetting yourself doesn't mean you're starting again. You're not starting, from zero. Instead, you're creating a new balance, a new zero for yourself. What's that new zero? Is the new platform for yourself. You're creating that new leverage, the new positioning for yourself. That's what you're doing. So this is recalibration. If you're using the Google map, maybe you're using an Uber or you're using a boat, you're taking a ride somewhere, and you suddenly move past the place you're supposed to turn, you miss your way. Um, what the technology in that application will do for you is they're going to alert you that you have moved past your stuff. You're going to see from the movement that you've moved past where you were supposed to turn. And they're not going to instantly tell you reverse backward. Instead, they're going to find you the nearest route. That process is called recalibration. All right, that process is called recalibration. So they're going to recalibrate you. They're not going to tell you to reverse because that's going to be costly. Imagine you driving in reverse when there are incoming vehicles, right? So you cannot go back to say your the mistakes that you did in the past. No, you can't do that. That's been done. What is ahead of you? What's the next thing that you're supposed to do? What is the next thing that you're supposed to do? So it's going to help you. You need to recalibrate. You have to clarify your identity. Who are you in the first place? This yourself, who are you? You need to ask yourself the question, what are your non-negotiables? What are the things that you cannot joke with? I mean, you have to identify those key areas. Then you have to also take control of your emotions. Resetting is going to mess with your emotions as well, because you're going to have different thoughts. You're going to have people that would come around you, and they're going to sway you with different kind of things. So you have to be a master of your emotions. You have to learn to master your emotion. When you are done with this, then you're ready to reset. So when is reset necessary? A reset is necessary when life has humbled you. I mean, when the life systems has failed you, when your old identity no longer works. All right, hold on, just a moment. All right, so I am here. Okay, so reset becomes necessary when life has humbled you. Most times you might not see the need to reset if you have not hit the rock bottom. But you shouldn't wait until you hit that rock bottom. There are indicators right now all around you telling you you gotta slow down, you gotta do this. This is not where you're supposed to be. So those key things are actually telling you you're in the that's like the tech system inside you that is telling you this is not where you're supposed to be. You are made for more. You can do more. You can achieve more. So when systems fail you, when your old identity no longer works for you, right? There's something called collateral damage. Let's say you work with someone that had a bad reputation, bad name, and all of a sudden you are trying to get into you have left the person right now. You're now building your own business, you're building your own company, and all of a sudden you're trying to go approach some people for businesses, for deals, investments, and the rest. And they're telling you, oh, are you not the one that used to work with so and so? You defrauded me. You caused me great harm. No, I'm not giving you this business. They are saying all manner of things against you. And that's because you've actually not resettled yourself. Um, you're suffering from the old identity. You have to reset. You have to reset. You have to do a press release if it's necessary. Okay. You have to do a press release and let people know that you're no longer that person. You have moved. All right. So we're just going to move. So what's the case study here? The case study here, there are several case studies, but one of the case studies I would like to really talk about is the Arya Stark. If you watch the Game of Thrones, can you put it in the chat? Let me know that you watched the Game of Thrones, because if you didn't watch Game of Thrones, you're not going to know this character, Arya Stark. So if you watched Game of Thrones, just put in the chat. Oh, you didn't. You didn't watch Game of Thrones. Where were you? I mean, Game of Thrones, a whole Game of Thrones you don't know. Oh my God. Oh my. This is the first time I'm actually hearing that someone didn't watch an entire Game of Thrones. Another person. Do we have anyone that actually watched the Game of Thrones? Otherwise, I'm going to use another case study. Oh, great. Thank God. Thank God I have someone here. I have someone here that actually did watch the Game of Thrones. Yes, so Game of Thrones is one particular movie that will teach you if you want to reinvent yourself. Life has hit you severally and you want to rebuild something. So in the case of Arya Stark, um, there was a lot that was against her. Maybe at the end of this session, I'm going to bring back her story, but for time's sake, I'm just going to move further. So Arya Stark didn't lose everything by choice. Life actually stripped her of the essentials. So many people are in that same category. I mean, you lost your job, the death of a loved one, relationship, maybe your spouse divorced you and all this stuff. These things were not your choice, but you just suffered it. That's like life, giving you something that you didn't ask for. So that was not your choice. But so you don't just, oh, because it was not my choice, so I'm just going to stay defeated. How do you bounce back? How do you rebuild your life even after suffering defeat? Okay, let's go. So I'm also going to move from this as well, because this has to do with you going into the no one. When they ask you, who are you? This is particular to the Arya Stark, but I'm going to come back later on that. So how research shows up? Research shows up when you become more quiet. I mean, when you become less reactive, you're not you're no longer emotional. This is when reset is actually working. That reset is now in motion. Okay, when you become more observant, this is when you need to take the action of resetting. When you become selective with access. So how do you complete the phase? When you realize that your emotions no longer control the decisions you take. For example, you were supposed to get into business deals and partnership, reach out to who you're supposed to reach out to for your business stuff, but you're busy playing with the emotions. Oh, it hurt me in the past. Oh, this and all of this stuff. You're not healed completely. You're not it's we talk about that, okay? So when you stop seeking validation, when you just step out of the unknown and you do things, You're now the chairman, the director, the driver of your own life, right? So this is when you can now move to the point where you now relaunch yourself. So after resetting, you know, resetting is like the typography, it's the documents. You're creating a document of your life. Launching, relaunching is you installing these documents that you have created. Remember, phase one is reset. This is you creating the document of your life, how you want your new life to be. You are carefully designing your life, right? Great. Let's move. Yes. So this is when you move to the relaunch phase. Relaunch phase is this installation phase where you are installing those documents that you have created. It is now visible to people. You're relaunching. It is visible to people. People now know this is who you are. This is your new identity. This is your new identity. People are now starting to align with you because of the newness that you are, the new face that you have become, the new person that you have become. What's the next step? So, what relaunch actually means, this is how you decide how you will be seen. You decide what you will be known for. This is like putting it to like the eyes, how you want the people to see you. This is you relaunching. You're deciding that you will no longer tolerate this and that. You no longer stay down. You're now taking action. So the decision you're taking now is now an action, not like an affirmation. It's not like the one you wrote down in your text board, in your notepad. This is no longer where you're just writing things down. This is where you're you're living the life of the documents that you created. You're actually living the documents that you created. The document is now a culture of your life, the culture of your life. So when you stay silent, what happens is that comfort sets in. The moment you don't want to launch yourself into the new phase, you're scared. You're scared of, a lot of things. One of the things you're scared of, if I relaunch, what if people don't? Let me give an example of a relaunch. I'm hosting this event and I'm like, okay, so what if nobody actually signs up for this event? What if I go further to pay for this training was actually paid for, the software used in having this training. So what if I go ahead to pay for this software and do all of these things and people actually don't show up? So that's the fear. That's the fear factor. That's the fear factor. What if I run sponsored ads, I put out marketing content, and at the end of the day, nobody shows up? So what what happens? So when you stay silent, you stay invincible. When you are silent, you are invincible. You extend your length of your visibility, your invisibility. You extend your duration. The times you will have gotten that someone to know you and give you the job, trust you with this and that and that. You have extended it and saying, yo, I don't want to get that job. I'm not ready for that position. I'm not ready for that, because of you choosing to stay silent. The next thing is, your safety. You're thinking about safety. Let's move to the next. Okay. So you have to say to yourself that you will no longer be invincible. You have everything it takes. You have to say to yourself, I am no longer playing by, the invincible. I'm not longer doing that whole thing. I'm not sitting at home again. I'm not sitting down to sulk. I'm not sitting down to complain about the things that I don't have. I'm not complaining about the things I don't have. I'm not complaining about the tools, the equipment I don't have. I don't have a tripod. I don't have the certification. I don't have the this. I don't have the that. You're going to say that today. You're going to write it down. You're going to say that today. You're going to say that you're not ready to be invincible. I'm not ready to stay invincible. I am ready to be visible. And I don't have any challenge. I have the tools, the necessary tools it requires for me to relaunch. I have the necessary tools it requires. I'm not waiting for certification. I'm not ready. I'm not waiting for those things. I'm going to come out the way I am. So another thing is when I created this whole thing for the workshop, it was people were supposed to sign up via my website. They were supposed to go from my website. I'm using myself as a case study. I'm using myself so that you can understand me clearly. So when I created this, I was supposed to send people a link via my website for them to go sign up, and everything is done in a very polished way. But I didn't wait for a website. I just created a Google form, 1, 2, 3, and launched whatever I needed to launch. I just created that. The designs were not ready. The designer never sent the designs yet. I used what was available. So I didn't create that excuse, that atmosphere that I was not ready, because I know I had everything. I could literally teach about these things without using any slide. All right. Thank you very much. Yes, no need to wait. Thank you for, yes, waiting is a form of excuse. Thank you for putting that confirmation. Waiting is a form of excuse. Excuses are the tools of the incompetent. Yes. So if you don't show up, you don't have the right to control things. You don't have the controlling rights. You cannot control the narrative. Whatever people say about you, that's what stands. If you don't have the visibility, if you don't show up, your industry is going to be messed up. We have AI today. People are talking about AI. AI is going to cause a lot of havoc, this and that and that. But you're the professional. Imagine using people that are not medical doctors. Imagine people that are not medical doctors. They are using AI to create medical prescriptions, medical contents, and they're putting it out for the public to consume. Do you know what that is? You don't, you're not qualified. You don't have the certification. If you've used AI, like you've interacted with AI, you realize that AI is based on the prompt you give it. If I tell AI to give me something that is skewed, AI will not correct me and say, yo, that thing is not right. It will give me based on what I've prompted it. So imagine someone that is not qualified, someone that is not a doctor. The place for the medication, they're saying, let's say 5 milligram per day. You're taking this dosage, 5 milligram per day. As a qualified doctor, normally it's supposed to be 5 milligram. But AI is coming and saying, take 5 milligram in the morning, take 5 milligram in the afternoon, and take 5 milligram in the evening time. Right? So what that is creating is you're endangering the society because you have refused to take the leadership position by creating these things. So you are now leaving that position for other people that are not qualified. So when you refuse to show up, when you refuse to take the leadership, to take the initiative, you're not doing yourself alone. You're endangering the entire ecosystem, the entire world. You're endangering the entire world because you are refusing to do what you're supposed to do. You're refusing to do what you're supposed to do. You now allow content creators to come in and create those contents and put it out and make money from this content instead of you taking the leadership position, taking the first step because you're the professional. You know how to prompt it. When AI gives you something that is false, you know that this is false. You're not relying on AI. Instead, you're using AI to become faster, to become efficient. So when you're not visible, when you don't position yourself, you lose control. You don't control the narrative. The people control the narrative. The people that are less qualified are the ones that control the narrative. All right. So when you relaunch your brand, you're actually owning the narrative. So this takes us to the next phase, which is a dominate the framework. So what is domination? What is domination? What is domination? Domination is relevance. Domination is relevance. So you have resetted, you have relaunched. The next phase, domination is like you scaling. Domination is like you scaling. It's an expert status. It's leverage, it's control, it's system, it's distribution. That's domination. It's distribution. You're no longer playing as as an ordinary person, you're now a leader. You're now dominating. Other people come to you, before they start something. They come to you, they come to learn from your page. They come to learn from what you're doing, So when people are thinking of something, what comes to their mind is you're the first person that you come to their mind. It's just like in the era of AI, when you want to talk about AI that is actually dominating, you mention ChatGPT. If you mention maybe Gemini, a lot of people don't know, but even a 10-year-old person will tell you ChatGPT, because these guys have dominated. So what's in your industry, do you think when certain topics are mentioned, people will say, oh, give it to this person is capable of handling that? Do you think that is possible? So that's domination. So now, you don't wait until you have the rights, you have the skill, you have the polished skill, the expert skill, like you want to get to proficiency level. You don't wait for that. Leaders don't wait until they get to proficiency level. All right? Leaders don't wait until they get to that level of proficiency. So why skill is not enough? Skill alone will not make you that millionaire, that billionaire, that trillionaire. Skill alone is not enough, right? Skill alone is not enough. You have the skill. Remember, you are not positioned. Remember, you are not positioned. You don't have the right audience. You don't have the right tools, but you have the skill. That's not alone. That's not going to cut it, right? You have served in the banking industry for maybe 15, 20 years. That skill alone is not enough. That skill alone is not enough. You need firepower, you need money, you need resources, you need access, you need people that are actually calling the shots. You need to get access to the regulatory bodies, the people that control the license. All right. So when you have the skill without positioning, it's going to lead you to burnout. It's going to lead you to frustration. It's going to lead you to underpayments. You have the skill, but you're not visible to the right people. You're not visible to the right people. So you're going to be stagnated. You have the skill, but you're not visible to the right people, the right audience. You're going to be stagnated. You're going to be burnt out. You'll be frustrated. I mean, the same thing you're doing, someone else is charging pretty much higher than you. But maybe you're doing it better than the person. But because of your location, where you are, is actually what is limiting you. Right? Where you are is actually limiting you. So skill alone is not the market rewards perception. Who I think you are, that's what is going to make me remove the money to pay you. What do I think about you? So market rewards your perception. What do they think about you? Even Jesus used to ask. Jesus asked, what do men say I am? He asked his disciples, who do men say I am? If that is Jesus, how much more you? Who do men say I am? Who do men say I am? Right? Who do men say I am? Jesus was so conscious about his personal brand. He was so conscious about his personal brand. Thank you very much for the contribution. He was so conscious about his personal brand. Who do men say I am? He's going to heal someone and say, don't mention. We don't do that here. Let me speak like Eric. Jesus is going to heal you and say, no, make sure you don't tell anybody, But he knows that there's no way you're going to keep quiet about it. Jesus, if you want to learn about marketing, I mean, the New Testament is going to teach you a lot about marketing. So the market reward clarity plus perception is not about the skill, not about the titles you have. Not about the titles you have. So this is the domination engine. When we're talking about domination, we're talking about skill is the base. So I'm not saying skill is not necessary. Skill is necessary, but that's not enough. You need to add the positioning. That's packaging. Then when you're done packaging um, who you are, the things you're good at, the things you're selling. Let's say you're selling a physical product, you need to package it well. The environment. Who are the first testers of this product? Imagine you're casting, like I said earlier, you're casting your pearl before swines. Imagine something of great value, you're handing it over to people that are not, I mean, the swines. They are not meant for that level of your vision. Imagine sitting the people that will doubt your capacity, doubt your capability, sitting them down, sharing your vision with them. And they're going to come out with 1,000 reasons why that your idea is not going to sell. But meanwhile, take that same thing to someone that is a doer. Take that something to someone else that sees potential in you. And they're going to tell you, let's run with it. Let's do it. If we fail, we fail. While the other person is there telling you, doubting you, second guessing you, telling you other alternatives that you should try. So the skill is recommended. That's the base. The next is the packaging. That's the positioning. The next is the visibility. Where are you? Where are you putting out your stuff? Who knows you? Who's endorsing your products? Right? Who are you selling your products to? The visibility, and then the relationships. Who are you connected to? Relationships can also be like the certifications you have as well. Maybe I went right now and I got an MBA and I put it on my LinkedIn. Kent Udosen, MBA, XYZ, CRP, ABCDEFGH, all those alphabetical titles. It can help amplify. So when somebody stops at my profile, the person looks at me twice. The person just does not look at me once and passes. He looks at me and then takes a pause and want to study me. Oh, the person is this guy is MBA. Let me check his profile. Let me see what happens. So that's like an amplifier. That's not really the meat, but that's an amplifier, right? So this is also where personal branding comes in. This is where personal branding comes in. All right, personal branding. So what is personal branding? What is personal branding? You heard personal branding. It sounds like a cliche word. Build your personal brand. Build your personal brand. What is personal branding? Personal branding is perception. Like I said earlier, it's perception. Who do men say I am when you're not there? What can people say about you? What's your credit score? What's your reputation? These things alone can give you access. These things alone can give you the things that you've been praying for, your personal brand. So personal brand is not the aesthetics, it's not the way you dress. It matters, right? It matters, but it's not about you wearing the outfit. It's about the reputation, the perception. How are you packaging yourself? Where are you appearing? So it's about the places you go to. It's about the people you associate with. Bible says the companions of fools will be destroyed. So that's personal branding. If you stay in the places that it's not recommended for you, it's not where your kind of person is supposed to stay, you're going to lose out. You're going to be destroyed. You're not going to have access. You'll be shut out. Imagine I'm building my brand right now and I'm connecting with someone that criticizes the government. And let's say I'm building an inclusive brand, an inclusive personal brand, and I'm tagging along with someone that fights the government every day. Maybe it's an activist, you know, and then I'm tagging myself with the person. I'm inviting the person to come to my stuff. Do you know what I've just done to myself? So it's about the people you associate with, the places you go to. It's a regulated lifestyle. It's a centralized lifestyle. That's personal branding. It's how you talk, how you walk. These are the things that makes up the perception about you. So all of these things is inside perception. It's a strategy. If I want you to see me differently, maybe I would have put on a suit and a tie and maybe the lighting and something. So when you see that, by the time By the time you see me speaking and then I'm putting my face somehow, and like, yo, that guy is up to something. The first time you see me, you're like, oh, yeah. So personal branding is that thing that gives you a second time look. It's something that makes people pause and want to look at you again and again and again, right? It's your appearance. Your appearance, it matters. It's how you speak. It's how you speak. Your reputation. What do men say about you? Is that audit? You have to audit yourself. So why should you care about personal branding? Why should you care about all of these things? Because if you don't build your personal brand, you know what's going to happen. I'm also going to share maybe much later. If I can't cover everything right now, if I can't cover everything in this session, we're going to have subsequent sessions where we're going to talk about, you can't just learn about everything in one day. This is meant to be a session where it's supposed to get you to think. That's why I'm not rushing through the points. If I'm not able to finish by the stipulated time, we would continue it later on. So I'm not here to rush through the points. I don't want you to see all my points. Don't see me finish. Let me use that one. Don't see me finish. I'm just kidding, right? Okay. So why you must care? It's about who will call you. Because if you don't manage your reputation well, you will not get the call. You're not going to get a call-up letter. You're not going to be invited to that room. When there's an opening for a job opportunity, nobody is going to call you. Yes, even your contact list, the person that is around you, is not going to call you, not going to recommend you for that because, number one, you're not visible. We don't know you. So there's a job opportunity. But then I don't know you. I don't trust that you can do this because you've not been talking about it. You're not visible. I don't think you have that, you don't have that thing. You don't have that thing. You're not yet it. I'm still watching you. It's perception. It's not prayer. This is not prayer. It's perception. I don't think you're at that level yet. So I don't think this guy can handle $100,000 contract. You cannot handle a 1 million naira contract. You can't handle a 5 million naira contract. So I don't think you are right for this opportunity because you've not built your personal brand. So it's going to affect the doors, the kind of doors that you get access to. So who needs to build your personal brand? Who needs to reset? Who needs to dominate? Who needs this? You're employed. You need to build your personal brand. You need to build your personal brand. Who needs to do this? You're employed, you're self-employed, you're unemployed, you're a business owner, you're a big business owner. You really need this very, very well. All right. In the era, someone sent me a message, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I think yesterday. Works with the bank. Job was secured, and all of a sudden they terminated their employment. They terminated their stuff, and then he sent me a message, this, that. I'm like, oh, wow. So if you don't build your personal brand, what is going to happen is that by the time you're out of where you are, you're going to find it difficult. You're going to find it difficult to actually transition into a new phase. It's going to be difficult for you. You're going to find it difficult for people to recommend you to a new job. Maybe imagine those people that got laid off from Twitter when Elon Musk took over Twitter. You know what happened? The Twitter, I just got laid off from my job. So what happened? Most top companies actually called them and offered them a job. But imagine they were not talking about, they were silent about this whole thing. You know what would have happened? They would just continue sitting down to sulk and then tweeting content, attacking Elon Musk, how bad he is, how ill-mannered he is, and all this stuff. You now start fighting instead of finding ways to align, instead of finding ways to position yourself for better opportunities. You're supposed to use your failure as a rebound for yourself, for your brand, for your business. But when you don't have this thing in mind, you come and start fighting the people that said we no longer want you in our space. You start fighting them, you start finding faults, right? You start finding fault. That means you've not been able to get hold of your emotion. I started this session by talking about, you need to reset. Resetting means you getting hold of your emotion. So, what are the core elements of this? Clarity of expertise. You have to define your audience. You have to create consistent messaging. You have to have a cohesive, visual, something that is consistent. All right. So you need to position yourself. How do you position yourself? Talking about your audience. Who are you called to? Who are you called to? Who are you called to serve? Who are you called to serve? Who do you serve? You need to clarify that. So let's say you're a consultant. Consultancy is big. You have to narrow it down. Consultancy is big. You have to narrow it down. So which area of consulting are you getting into? Which area of consulting are you getting into? Let's say you worked with the bank for, let's say, maybe 15, 20 years, and now you're out of the banking system. Maybe you got laid off or you decided to resign. There are different opportunities you can actually pick up. You can start teaching about finance. You can become financial analysts, financial managers. You can become a consultant. There are different opportunities that you can start training about finances. All right. So there are things here that I'm going to pause and take questions on. All of this, I would have to connect it to something else because this is something entirely different right now. Okay. So if you have questions, this is the time for you to, if you have questions, this is the time for you to ask. If you have questions, this is the time for you to ask your question. You have questions, you can decide to ask a question right now. So while we're waiting for the questions to come in, so you need to put your name on the map. You need to put your name on the map. You got laid off from job. You got laid off from your work. Things are not working well for you. For example, I just got promoted. You got to put it on the map. You got to put your name on the map. The map is put it on the internet. Uh, Sound the alarm. Let people know that this is who you are. I just got laid off, from my work, from my job. You got promoted. You should put it out there. This is consistently, gradually building your brand. People are getting to know who you are. You're looking for a job. Put it out there. You shouldn't wait until it's over for you. So you're looking for a job. Put it out there. Don't sit down. You worked with a top company for 15 years. Let's say you worked with ExxonMobil, you worked with the banking sector. You were a school teacher for many years. You've trained 2,000 students. That's a great experience. There are people that are looking for leaders that have relationships, that have the experience. They've worked with 2,000 plus children. They know how to handle children and their wahala and the rest. So it's something you have to put on the map. You have to put it out there. Get on social media. Write something. Put it. You don't need to wait until it is perfect. Put it out there. All right. So the people, it's not about the pay. It's not, so you don't just put out there when you get promoted. Let's say they promoted you to the managing director. That's when you're thinking only about putting it out on the map. That's not it. It's not about how much you're earning. It's not about, let's say you're a school teacher, and we know that school teachers, they basically earn, I would say, maybe the least amount of money. Looking at the quality of things they do, they create, they build up children. They are the setters of leaders, but they earn the lowest amount of money. Right? So it's not about the pay. It's not about the pay. So when we're talking about positioning yourself, it's not about how much you earn. It's not about how much your industry is currently paying you. You know, it's that commitment, the fact that you've been able to stay committed to this stuff, this industry. You work with a toxic boss, you work in a toxic environment. That alone is positioning. That alone is something that can get you hired. Someone can hire you to come and be their CRM manager, to come and be their customer experience and something. Someone can hire you to come and handle that because I know you work with a toxic boss. You're able to find a way to share that story, how you were able to manage those situations. There's a situation I worked in something similar to that. And then I've received people that came to me and they gave me a handshake. You work with this person for this number of time? No, you really need an award. I'm like, award, like how? Oh no, we know about this person. I was laughing. You need an award. So that is something you shouldn't stay quiet about. Because if you stay quiet about it, I mean, when the top industry that can actually pay you 10 times of what your previous company were paying, they're looking for someone like you, but because you've not put it out there, how do they know you exist? How do they know you exist? So, you should share how you were able to avoid those clashes, how you survived. You should share how you avoided that. You're great at relationships, great. You know how to work under pressure, great. That's a plus. That's a plus. Come on, come on, come on. You got to put your name on the map. You should put your name on the map. You got promoted. That's more reason why you should tweet about it. That's more reason why you should create content about that. You got laid off from your job. Great. You're resigning from an opportunity, a job. You should write about it. Talk about your experience. It shouldn't just be in a one-time post. So while I was working with XYZ company, or you mentioned the industry, if you don't want to create some sort of problem for your previous company or your boss, while I was working with XYZ industry, these were the things I handled. These were the things I did. Create a document, create content that relates with the story you're talking about. You can't say you work with ExxonMobil, you work with Microsoft, and there's no single thing about Microsoft around your profile. We cannot see anything. How do I believe you? How do I believe you? I'm going to believe you through the content you create. Through the content you create. So you're going to use content creation to make people believe you. You're going to get them to know you, first of all, that you exist. The next phase is to like you. You use content to make them like you. And the last phase is them trusting you. So you're going to use content to make them trust you. So those three phases. You use content to make people know you, that you exist, to like you through the content you're writing, the things they follow you now. So when they follow you, that means they like the content you're creating. They follow you. The next is trusting you by giving you an opportunity, recommending you for a job, or buying your product or services. That is the monetization phase. I trust you enough to be able to hand you over this product. I trust you enough to be able to give you this. I'm asking a top company to give you a job because I trust you. But if you're not creating those contents, I will not know you exist. I will not know. I'm not going to know. I'm not going to like you. I'm not going to follow you because I don't even know you exist. I'm not going to give you a job. I'm not going to recommend you to an opportunity. I'm not going to buy the product you sell. I'm not going to buy the product you sell, right? I'm not going to buy the product you sell. Hold on 1 second, please. All right, I'm back. So I'm not going to buy the product you sell because I don't know you. Your name is not on the map. Your name is not on the list. All right? You're not moving. So each time you stay silent, you're not moving. And when you're not moving, there's no momentum. There's no momentum. There's no future for you. There's no future. You're not dominating it. There's no plan for you to dominate. There's no guarantee that you will dominate. That's what happens. Because you're not creating, you're not sharing. Yes, that's what happens. Your name, I can't find your name anywhere. So how do I know that you can handle these things? So 99% of the people that I have currently in my life that currently work with me are people that I never met. I don't know them from Adam. I've never met with them one-on-one. Yes, for the past how many years? I've not met them. I've not met them. I don't even know. They don't even know my height, whether I'm short, whether I'm tall. So imagine I was not creating content. Imagine I was not visible. Imagine I was not vocal. Imagine I was not vocal. You know what's going to happen? I'm not going to get the trust. They're not going to trust me to be able to handle, you know, responsibilities to me. So, so your experience is the leverage. That's why you create content using your experience. You have to talk about it. Your experience is the leverage. You spend 15 years at, a particular job. People are seeing discipline. What the people are seeing is the systems. This is what potential hirers, potential CEOs, founders, this is what they are looking at. They see you to be someone that is extremely disciplined. They see you for someone that respects protocol. You respect structure. You respect leadership. And you're the person we're looking for. So that your experience is not wasted. It's something that is really, really necessary. That's why you see jobs, they tell you bring in, we need 5 years experience, 5 years working experience. Yeah, it's necessary. So what are you going to do? What I'm recommending for you for 2026, number one, is you need something that you're selling. You need a skill. Get a skill. Get a skill. Get a skill. Get a skill. Have a product. Have something that you're selling. Have something you want to be known for. What do you want to be known for? What do you want to be known for? If you want to dominate, what are you dominating with? You can't just dominate by just existing. You just existing, you can't dominate. They say, what do you bring to the table? You say you are the table. What is the table? I'm the table. What is the table? What do you bring to the table? I am the table. What is the table? You cannot differentiate. You don't know anything. What do you bring to the table? What do you have for us? What are you performing for? What are you performing tonight? Don't be like Josh too funny. What are you performing tonight? I'm performing you. Like, I don't understand. You're performing me? Yes, I'm performing you. Like, as you're sitting like that, like you're already, the guy is very funny. So if you don't have a skill, you gotta learn a skill. You don't have a product, you gotta go create a product, right? You don't have a service, you gotta go create a service. Have something that you're offering. Someone needs to identify you by something. If those that are called by my name will humble themselves, they know you for something. You are called by someone, all right? So when you have the skill, let's say you have a skill right now, you want to dominate in 2026. One of the things you need to do is to upskill. One of the things you have to do is to upskill. Every year, you got to create a timetable, create a document, create a workflow that helps you upskill. You're learning new essential things that are relevant. Okay. So when you upskill, you become relevant. It gives you more leverage, and it also gives you security. So just in case you're looking for areas, industries that you can actually maybe transition into, build something in for 2026. Yeah, high demand industries that you need to take cognizance, you need to take note of in 2026. There are a lot, but I just had to just pick this few. I don't want to load you up with many things. Number one is the vocational services. We don't talk about vocational services again, but when you're traveling abroad, you're going to know that vocational services are actually high in demand, like vocational service, plumbing, painting, carpentry, all of these things are high demand. Someone comes to fix your your water, your toilet in the US, something that he spent maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes, is getting maybe $400, $200 from you, $250. Yeah, that's big money. So this is also what I talked about positioning as well. So imagine you are doing the same thing in your third world country to a client that is used to paying um, low for services. Let's say you're in the district that there's a price cap for different services. There's a price cap for different services. Let's say this, we can't pay you be above so and so. If you're working, you just know that that is it. But if you're in a position, if you're in an environment that actually appreciates, that pays, people get paid for their services. You would see that if you're a barber, you make more money. You might even make more money than someone that is doing a 9 to 5. So vocational services are high demand. You need to focus on vocational services. Don't close your eyes to tech. Don't close your eyes and say it's just tech, it's just tech, it's just tech. Tech is not the only thing. Like, there are areas you can use tech in other industries. You can use tech to drive your vocational services. But when you just focus on, you just want to learn just digital skills alone, that's when you're locked, because that's not the only available opportunity. You can use tech for other things that you're doing. You're going into agriculture, tech can help you power your agriculture and help you efficiently. All right. So there's content creation, there's media, AI is coming. You need to, first of all, the people that will benefit well from AI are the people that already have the base knowledge of how these things work, people that have the manual knowledge. If you don't have the manual knowledge, you might struggle, to integrate things. You might struggle with a lot of things. That's why if you're a professional, I would advise you to, go and study AI more, because you're going to benefit more as a professional. You're going to benefit more as a professional. Imagine I'm a coach. I'm creating table of content for a particular thing. So this is how I want this content to flow. And AI gives me something that is different. I'm like, no, this is not necessary. But imagine I don't know, I'm not a professional. I'm just relying on AI to give me. So I just come to read what AI is giving you. I just come and be reading. There's no blood, there's no soul. I'm not reading it, like it's not aligning, because I'm not a professional. I'm using AI. I'm depending on AI 100%. So that's why you, as a professional, you are someone that is skilled in that thing. You have to learn how you can use AI to achieve things faster. Learn how to use AI to become better, so that you can handle more things instead of just being stuck. For example, I was trying to do the slides today. I was trying to do the PowerPoint slides today. While I was trying to do it, I think it was, I was getting on the call, I was multitasking, getting on the call with a client, this and that, and it was quite delaying for me. I tried to write it one by one. It was slow for me. I had to go use AI. So this is created. This was created by AI. I gave the points. I wrote all the points, but I didn't have the time to design the entire page. I just said, oh yeah, these are the points I want. Oh yeah, finish the work for me, right? So this is me utilizing AI as a coach, as a speaker, as a trainer, to become, efficient at what I'm doing, to save time. Otherwise, maybe I would have postponed the meeting. So high demand industries, there's content creation, there's digital marketing, there's education, there's customer service, there's agriculture. Don't sleep on that. You can start exporting products. I mean, we're going to talk about that much later, maybe in our next session. So how do you know this particular skill is what I should be doing? I learned how to code. I learned how to code, build websites, so as a software engineer for 2 years. My head almost fell off. That was not my area. My area was marketing. My area was administration. My area was what I'm doing right now. Because what I'm doing right now, I really don't need the slides, but I'm just using the slides so that I can be more organized. Yes, so you can actually benefit more, and I would follow a sequence, so that I can follow a sequence. So, but I went to learn coding. I went into software engineering, and my head almost blew. I studied software engineering for 2 years. My head was as if the laptop was overloading. I'm like, no, this is not my thing. 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 I had to leave it to my area of strength. So you shouldn't learn a skill because everyone is saying you should learn this skill, you should do this, you should do that. You need to really, really sit down and look at yourself. What are your area of strength? What are the things that you're good at? You can actually communicate this with AI to say, this is who I am. These are the things I love doing. You can also take a test. You can go online and search for um, skill tests. What skill should I learn that is related to my personality? So you can go take a personality test, and that's going to reveal the kind of skill that you should learn. And again, the skill that will be relevant for the next phase that we are entering. Because we're in the phase of AI, but I'm not saying you should go and learn AI. Still learn whatever you're learning, but you're just going to use AI to amplify whatever you're doing. You shouldn't just abandon everything and say you just go and learn AI. We're still going to need video editors. We're still going to need therapists. We're still going to need this. We're still going to need that. So you shouldn't just end whatever you're doing because um, you want to learn AI. You want to learn what is in vogue. Because right now it's AI that's trending. In the next 5, 10 years, something else is going to come out. So what is that going to mean? It means you're going to abandon this and start learning that other thing. You just have to learn how to incorporate AI with what you're doing, not like abandon what you're doing. AI will not come and barb the hair for you. I know there are machines, but how many persons can afford those machines? So until then, until the era when these products made by AI, this technology, these tools will be reduced for the common man to afford, you still need to go and learn how to use those things. Go and learn these things. All right, so choosing the skill, does it align with my experience? Can it be monetized? Does it scale? Right? Choosing the skill, you need to ask these 3 questions. Does it align with my personality, my experience, my personal brand, who I am? Can it be monetized? So don't just go and learn a skill that's, for example, if I am learning, let's say I am creating a product for teenagers. Let's say I'm creating something for teenagers or for children. Let's say God has called me, so I'm called to serve children and all of this stuff. Can I monetize that? Monetization for children is actually very, very low. Even on YouTube, if you're creating content for YouTube, for children on YouTube, the cost, the payment for children is actually very, very small. Yes. So also the brand you're creating, you need to know can this thing be monetized? If you're selling into teenagers, imagine I'm saying I'm coaching teenagers right now, maybe people under 20 years old, and I'm saying my fee is about $500 or 500,000 naira. How many teenagers can actually pay me 500,000 naira in my locality? Right? So the thing you have chosen to learn, you need to find out if it can be monetized. Can this thing be monetized? Can I scale with this thing? So I cannot teach children because children cannot pay me. Instead, I will position myself to the parents. I'll position myself to the parent, but it's still a very hard niche. It's a very niche that needs a lot of work because if the parent does not buy the idea, imagine me starting a football club, football academy for children. I need to appeal to the emotions of the parents. I have to provide guarantee, provide safety, and all of those stuff, for me to be able to buy into the parents, for them to give me their children and pay me the monthly sign-up fee for my football academy for children, because is it going to affect their education as well? If it's going to affect their education, parents might not want to enroll their kids because for them, education is number one before vocation, before hobby, and the rest of the thing. So these are factors you need to consider. We're going to end. This is like the last points. If you have your questions, I will be willing to take your questions. So, you know, so the next 90 days, the next phase of your life, you have to be clear about what you want to do. You have to create a visibility plan. All right. You have to be clear about what you want to do, create a visibility plan. How do you want to be visible? How do you want to position yourself, your personal brand, and all of this stuff? And then how are you executing? What's like the time frame? All right. So leaders actually don't consume. Leaders execute. Leaders do not consume. When you wake up in the morning, the first thing you're doing is you're consuming content made by other people. So those people are leaders, right? So you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is you rush to your Instagram, you watch to your stories, and you're reading content. You're consuming content from what other people created. You're not creating. So leaders don't consume first, they create. They create, they contribute. So I'm also contributing. So if I come to your content right now and I comment on your content, what I'm doing is I'm contributing. I'm contributing to what you're doing. So leaders contribute. Leaders don't consume. I'm not just coming, so I'm just scrolling aimlessly. I'm just scrolling from morning to night. I'm just scrolling. I mean, that's not what leaders do. All right? That's not what leaders do. Leaders, they execute, they contribute. I wake up in the morning, I go to the people, my audience, I try to encourage them in what they're doing. I contribute in their content, I comment, I share their posts. I also create mine, I do something, I speak to my audience. I go out to my shop, I open my workplace, I do that. Leaders, you're creating something, you're not consuming. What's your decision right now? What's going to be your decision? Are you staying invincible or you're repositioning? Are you staying invincible? With everything I've said, do you still choose to stay invincible? What's your choice? What's your choice? What's going to be your choice? What's going to be your decision right now? Are you choosing to be visible or you're choosing to stay invincible? All right. So with these few points of mine, I'm going to end the briefing right here and I'm going to take your questions. So if you have questions right now, I mean, we can chat. If you have questions right now, we can chat. If you have questions right now, we can have, I can take a few questions before I end the session. Okay, great. So what would you recommend as a starting point? So the starting points, like I mentioned, is get for someone that wants to amplify their voice in their expert field. So you have the starting points. Okay, the second question you just asked now just is making me change what I wanted to mention. So if you were just starting, you're not an expert, I would say find something that you want to be known for. That's always a starting point. Learn a skill, get a skill, or have a product that you're selling. Something like that. You need to do something. All right, you need to do something. If you already have something that you're doing, you have to build your you have to increase your positioning. You have to build your personal brand. If you already have something that you're doing already, like you're already an expert in the field, so you want to increase the way people see you, want to change the perception. Maybe you want to relaunch, you want to rebrand yourself, you want to get more people to get more eyeballs on what you're doing, you want to get more eyeballs, you know, you want to get more eyeballs. You want to get more eyeballs to the things that you're doing, to your products, your services. That's one of the things I'm going to recommend. That's by building your personal brand. That's about sharing your experience, sharing your expertise, teaching something. So If you want, I can also share maybe 7 steps how you can build your personal brand. If I get one more question again, I'm going to go into that. Otherwise, I think the session was supposed to be for 90 minutes, and we started by 7, and this is 8:30, 8:44. So this is over 90 minutes. This is like maybe 110 minutes. So the starting point would be for you as an expert is to get more visibility, get more eyes on what you're doing. That's by building your personal brand, amplifying the things that you already have. You already have something. You already have something that you're doing. So you need to get more eyeballs on that thing, create more content, become more consistent, show up more often, you know, create a rhythm, create a consistent plan that you're going to show up maybe 3 times a week, let people know you for a particular thing. All right. You're already an expert in that field. So you're an expert. You know you're an expert, but the people, do they know you're an expert? What's the percentage of people that know that you're an expert in that thing? All right. You want to share your experience. You want to teach something like, for example, what I'm doing right now, I'm sharing my knowledge. I'm helping people find clarity on how they can, reset their life and dominate. So you want to do something like this. You want to share maybe tips. You want to do it by creating content on social media. You want to teach the people on social media different content formats you can use to teach. You want to use the thought leadership style by using the podcast. You want to make it like podcast style. So when somebody uses the podcast, it shows leadership. It shows that you're a leader. It shows like you're a thought leader. You want to speak on stage. That's what leaders do. You want to speak on stage. That's what leaders do, right? That's what leaders do. So you want to amplify the things that you're doing. So if you used to show up in a certain kind of way, you want to do it in the elevated way. How many events do you want to create? How many events, how many speaking events do you want to accept the next year? So you want to open yourself up to speaking on stage. You want to open yourself up to training more people. And you want to amplify the things that you're doing so that you can increase the percentage of people that actually know you. Let's say if you have, using the 10% conversion ratio, if I were to sell something here right now, let's say I want to sell an ebook, I want to sell a masterclass, I want to sell something at the end of this event. According to the conversion ratio, the typical conversion ratio, it shows that 10% of people. Okay, so how many people signed up for this event? We had over 30 something persons that actually signed up for this event. But how many persons are actually showing up for this event? Let's check. So we have about 10. So if you want to exclude myself, we would have like 8 persons. I think some people have actually jumped off the call for some reason. Some people said they were going to watch the live stream later on. Okay, so what does this mean? This means that following the 10% conversion ratio, if 100 persons sign up for your event, 10% of them will show up on the call. 10%, at least 10%. If less than 10% show up, it means your marketing was not good enough. So if 40 something persons signed up for my event and I'm already having about 8 or 10 persons actually live on the call, that means, people showed up, they tried. This is above the normal pass mark. So if you reach out to 100 persons, 10 persons will actually respond by coming. And out of that 10 persons, 10% of the 10 persons will actually commit. They will buy what you're selling. So if I'm selling something right now, at least 1%, one person out of the number of persons that are here will actually pay for my program or something. That it's there. I know my people are here. My people that are here, if I want to sell something here right now, I'm sure they would want to buy. So I was just giving you that whole, this is why you need to be seen by more people. You need to increase the percentage of people that are actually seeing you, because the more people that see you, the most likely you would have increase the numbers of sign-ups or sales that you have or opportunities that you'd have. Is it a deal to promote yourself majorly and massively on solely on one social media? As because most times it's exhausting branding and building multiple social media? Yes. Um, yes. If it depends on what you want to do, you need to find out where your audience most likely are. Your audience, the people that will likely hire you. For example, let's say you are a business owner. Let's say you're a business owner. You maybe, or let's say you're looking for a job. Where do you think most likely you will find a job? What platform? Is it on TikTok? Do you think you can find a job on TikTok? Maybe, maybe not, but the percentage it's quite low on TikTok. But can you find a job on LinkedIn? Most likely. Yes. Percentage is high, maybe like about 70%. Can you find a job on Twitter? Yes, maybe about 30%. Can you find a job on Facebook? Yes, maybe about 20%. Can you find a job on Instagram? Yeah, maybe about maybe 7 to 10%, you know, or 20%. Let me give it 20% as well, you know, depending on the industry, depending on what you're building, the people that, what are the, you need to define the persona of the people that you are called to serve. If you're a footballer, audit yourself, audit your life. Which platform do you spend most of your time on? Which platform? So if someone is to hire a footballer, maybe they want to recruit you to play in a, in American League, so which position, which platform do you think people would find you most likely on? Twitter is there. Twitter. Twitter is there. Um, where people can watch the videos, where people can follow the trends, the hashtags. For example, today there's an AFCON match going on. Where are you going to find most of the updates? You find it most especially on Twitter. Twitter is mainstream. Now it's called X. Sorry about that. I think I'm still old school. So you have to find out where your people are and build where they are. So if Instagram is where your people most likely are, then build most likely on Instagram. You can now repurpose the content to other platforms when you have the capacity and the opportunity, right? You can also make use of scheduling apps. You can use, you can wake up in the morning and batch create, schedule the post to be posted at the time. You can make use of tech tools. So that will help you not burn out, okay? You create a timetable. So when you created this content, you want to repurpose it, you want to post it on this other place. Because as you're starting, most likely, most times you don't know where your audience most likely will be from. Like the people that will actually patronize you, people that will give you that opportunity that you so desire. It could come from Facebook. That's why you don't need to sleep on these platforms. Put here, Bible says, give a portion, cast your bread upon um, waters, and after several days you shall find. Cast your bread, put it here, put it here, put it here. You don't know the day this one is actually going to pick. You have one single platform, yes, but also create a shorter version. If your content was just meant for LinkedIn, you want to summarize it into 2 paragraphs so you can post it on Instagram, so they can post it on TikTok. You just want to make TikTok can be maybe just one paragraph, can just be one paragraph. You don't want to make it too long because people don't have. TikTok is a video platform. LinkedIn is a text-based platform. Facebook is a text-based platform. Instagram is a video platform. So this platform, each of the platform, they have their different pros and cons. They have how you should look like. Just like if you go to different churches, they have the different way they dress, religion, where you're from, the way they dress. The Jewish person, you can identify the person from how they dress. And if you go to the Jewish land right now, they can identify you because of how you dress, because of how you sound. So each of these platforms actually have the way they sound. They have their modus operandi, how they operate. So you have to find what is particular about the language of TikTok is simplicity, is fun. You cannot go and blow grammar with people there. They're going to, they will drag you. You can lie on Facebook. You can post something and tell people, type amen. If you believe in this post, write amen. Don't try that on Twitter. They will drag the hell out of you. They're going to send you, they're not that. Twitter is not, you don't go and do the motivation there. It is real thing, it's facts, it's short, straight to the point. That's Twitter. you know. So understand where you're going to and how, what's the language that is in operation there. You don't go and be blowing grammar in that place. You can blow grammar on Facebook. Facebook, anything goes. Facebook, anything goes. Just, you know, somebody post a car, and say, congratulations to myself. People come and start congratulating. Oh, wow, nice, nice. Don't go and do that on Twitter. You just got a car. They are going to fact check you. They're going to carry that same picture, fact check it on the internet to see if you're the person that actually owns that vehicle. But Facebook, nobody has the time to check. They just come in and they're telling you, oh, congratulations, wow, I'm happy for you. I tap into your grace. You tap into which grace? So you need to understand the platform, the language that is applicable in each of the platforms that you want to get into. You might have one singular platform, but then you need to understand what is recommended in each of these places. Did I answer your question? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Do we have any question? Any other question? Any other question? Or we call it a night? Do you have any question? Okay, so in the absence of the questions, in the absence of a question, I'm going to so I'm starting the growth community in 2020, in 2026. It's for people that want to dominate, people that want to grow. It's a growth community. So you want to take over 2026. So I created a free community, but you can only come into this community via recommendation, and there are processes you're going to, because it's free. I'm also limiting the kind of people that we accept. So you're going to go through filling of forms. What are you doing? We need to know that you're doing something, and we don't want people that are coming to just warm the seats. You're not just coming in to just sit down. We want to ensure that you're actually taking action. And when you come in and after a period of time and you're not contributing in the group, remember what I said, leaders actually contribute. You contribute by sharing your own views. What you learned from this. Leaders actually comment. Leaders actually comment. They don't consume. Normal people just consume, but leaders actually comment. They actually create and they also contribute. So I'm starting this. I'm going to share more details in the chat. But this is for people that want to take advantage of the next phase of their lives. They need mentorship. You want someone to mentor you. You want someone to hold your hand. You want to grow. You want to be accountable to someone. You want to be accountable to someone. Then I'm inviting you to join my growth community. You can send me a message and then I'm going to send you, we're going to chat, we're going to talk about it, and then I'll send you a link where you can be a part of the growth community. So thank you very much. I would, thank you very much. I'm going to share the details of the in the group chat. I'm also going to share um, you know how you can. So you just send me a message if you are interested in joining the next phase. It's the growth community. You can send me a message. So in the absence of everything, I want to thank you very much for stopping by. I want to thank you very much for finding time to be with me at this workshop. We're going to have the next version in January. I would also share the details much later. Maybe in January, I'll communicate with you when the date is going to be, when the date is going to be. But if you are in the community as well, if you're in the growth community, you're going to have access to all of the sessions that we're having. You're going to have access to, you can ask me questions in the group. We're going to have those sessions, So these sessions are meant to quicken you, to make sure that you're actually following the plan. We're going to have the sessions. It's going to be like a classroom where we're learning. By the end of 2026, you should be able to measure your growth. You should be able to know that you have moved from point A to point B. You're no longer where you were last year because you now have a mentor. You now have a structured guidance. You have a coach right now that is helping you achieve. You have a community. You have a community. You have people that are doing things that are actually inspiring you, and you're doing something. So, you know, I'm gonna send more information to the community if you're in the chat. I'm gonna send more information about that. So thank you very much for coming on this call. Thank you very much for staying till now. Thank you, Mr. Bernard. Thank you, um, Dr. Ketura. Thank you, Miss Miracle. Thank you, Shekina. Thank you for your question. Thank you, Sir Victor. Thank you, Yedidia. Thank you, team leader, and then every other person that came in. I appreciate. Thank you for stopping by. We will talk again. Um, yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We will talk again. I will see you in the community. Bye. Bye. Thank you very much.